Hello there, Internet. Welcome to GameSlushy podcast number 2. I am Charlie, and this is my co-host, Alan. Alan?
Hello.
Hey, Alan. So, for today, what are we going to talk about? Games that we really cherish. That's what we agreed on before, right?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. You want to kick it off? You have...
I have loads of games I cherish.
Okay.
Loads. I can kick off with my top one, which is probably Final Fantasy VII.
Final Fantasy VII.
Everyone's played that game.
I played it, but I didn't finish it because I didn't have a PlayStation at that time, and I got the PC version instead. And
I think I actually persuaded my parents to buy the PlayStation for me for that game alone.
That was probably smarter because I had the PC version, and my PC version crashed when I reached a certain point in the story.
I remember the PC version coming out, but that was yonks after, wasn't it?
No, I don't remember. I think it was like 1 year, maybe, after the PlayStation release. I don't know. So I never finished it, but it is on my to-play list because it is...
Still on the to-play list. Yeah, it's one of those games.
It is on the PSN for €9.
All right.
Yeah, so
Oh, you can actually get it on the PS... Now, I had a look through the PSN. I couldn't find it when I was looking through it. There is Final Fantasy like 1 or 2 to 5.
I know for sure that 7, 8, and 9 are there, but it's the PlayStation 1 version.
Yeah, I don't think they did any digital releases of them. Not yet, anyway.
Well, it is digital.
No, I mean updated since.
No, that's never going to happen. You mean HD re-release?
Yeah, kind of HD.
Well, I've read something that Square Enix said HD re-release of Final Fantasy VII would take ages, like double the amount of time to create a normal Final Fantasy sequel.
Yeah, exactly. Well, on the topic anyway.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing game. From top to bottom, it's hard to find a game ever since it was released that compares to it. I mean, if you look at it, I easily put 100 hours into that game. 100 hours. Now, even the top game recent release that would classify as an RPG these days, at most you get 40 out of them.
Yeah, but there's a lot of grind involved in there too. JRPGs are known for a lot of grinding.
True. I suppose the only closest thing was WoW.
We did a lot of grinding in that one too.
There was a lot of grinding there.
In fact, we met when we were grinding in what was that? That place in Eastern Plaguelands?
Oh yeah, back in vanilla.
Yeah, we killed a few orcs and friends ever since.
Grinding days.
Yeah, I was grinding for my epic mount.
Yeah. Oh god, the gold coin back then was sick. Trying to get up to, what was it? It was 600 gold or something ridiculous. And then nowadays you get 600 gold just by farming for an hour. Where it actually literally took weeks.
Yeah, it did. And especially when you had to go to raiding every other day and spend a ton of money in repairs.
Yeah. Okay, well on that anyway, this was definitely the best game. As far as complexity came, I mean, the system in the combat when you had to mix in your elemental stuff, I think they were called materia, mixing them into swords, mixing them into weapons, farming for the greatest weapons. Everything about it was just pretty epic for me. So that is definitely my number one spot retro most loved-hearted game that I've ever played.
It had a lot of customization for its time.
Yeah, it really, really did. I think it was a stepping stone, more or less.
You played Kingdom Hearts as well, right?
Yeah, I did. I played Kingdom Hearts.
How epic was that when you got to see Cloud and Sephiroth in it?
Oh, yeah, that was pretty good. It made the game for me at the time.
Yeah. I love Kingdom Hearts. That's one of my favorite ones. I think it's...
I have to admit, now, the game itself, Kingdom Hearts, didn't appeal to me as much as many others. But the fact that it had, Cloud and all the characters from Final Fantasy in there just made it for me.
You see, I'm the opposite, again, of you, because I liked it because of the Disney characters. Because it's those characters that I grew up with in the movies, and it offered a really good sense of escapism for the player, to visit those magical worlds that you've seen in Disney movies. And
yeah.
And the story wasn't bad either. It was actually very good. The combat system was real time. It wasn't a turn-based RPG, and that's always a plus in my book.
True, yeah. The real time combat came in much later. There was a lot of games on turn-based.
Yeah, a lot of people complained said that the combat in Kingdom Hearts wasn't very good, and it was very button mashing. But I still prefer the button mashing with a little bit of strategy than just
I honestly think back then people just weren't used to it.
To button mashing?
Yeah, it would not. Button mashing in an RPG would be the key wording there. Because I think they were more or less all used to, the turn-based strategies and stuff like that. And I know I was. When I first got my hands on Kingdom Hearts, I was a bit surprised by how I was running around. Because it reminded me of other games where I was expecting, this to have a bit more depth. And that was that for me. But anyway, back to you. What would definitely be your most hearted game of all time?
Oh, Kingdom Hearts is which we already talked about.
But is it your number one?
I don't. That's just it. I don't have a number one. It's like games for me are like movies. I have a group of games that I really love, but they're so good in their own different ways that it's hard to say this game is better than the other because they're different genres. It's like I cannot say Killzone 3 is a better game than God of War 3 because different genres.
Nah, you see, I wouldn't think that at all. I'd be just like, I have a game. This game was awesome in every aspect. I played it. I loved it. It didn't matter what genre it was. I loved the thing to bits. I loved the story about it. I loved the lore. And that was enough for me to call it number one.
But, it's like a good way for me to explain this to you. We're both big anime fans. And it's like asking me which anime is the best, Death Note or Full Metal Alchemist. And they're so awesome in their
both
own way.
Of them. Yeah, true. Okay. All right. Well, that's a fair enough attitude towards it.
So I would say I love let's see. I was a Mega Drive kid, Genesis for the business in the US. Mm-hmm. In Europe, it's called the Mega Drive. I was a Mega Drive kid, so I really loved Streets of Rage. It's a game that I grew up with, and I still play to this day. Streets of Rage 2 is my favorite one.
The old emulators, get them going, good to go.
And not only that, I have the that
little. You don't have a Mega Drive sitting at home, do you?
No, my mother broke it.
Oh.
I would still have one, but my mother started playing columns on it, and then one day we had the Mega Drive disassembled, and she wanted to assemble it herself without asking for any help, so she ended up breaking the cables. That's what we get when we mix, old people with technology. Stuff gets broken.
It's not fair.
No, but I did get, those collections. The collection that came out for the PS3 with all the classics from,
Yeah. If we're going that far back as well, I could easily put up in number 2 was Sonic for me.
Sonic is amazing.
On the Mega Drive, when I first got my Mega Drive console, Sonic was the biz. When I can't even remember what age I was. I probably was about 8. Yeah, maybe about 8 when it came. It was out in 91, so no, it would have been about 10.
And
10 years old. Yeah.
I used to have a friend of mine that had a Super Nintendo, so I played a lot of Super Nintendo games too. And I didn't see how people could think Mario was a big deal back then when they had the gameplay of Sonic on the Mega Drive. In my opinion, was much more fluid. But
you have that now.
Yeah, but in my opinion, back then, it was the only game that was as fluid as Sonic was Donkey Kong. And I didn't understand why so much love for Mario. As a character, I thought the character was a little bit bland. We're probably going to get a lot of hate mail over this, right? No, but
the Nintendo fanboys out there.
Yeah, I like Mario too, but I just prefer Sonic. Okay, this is the politically correct approach. I preferred Sonic, and I think the gameplay was much more fluid and interesting and fun than the one you could find in Super Mario. That's my opinion.
I was the same, hands down. I loved Sonic, but then again, I put that down to either parenting choice. If I was handed a Nintendo first before my Mega Drive, there's a very good chance my attitude would have changed towards that. And that's something I have to consider.
Well,
I probably still would have wanted to play Sonic, but if I had like all the Super Mario, cartridges there, happy, ready to go in my Nintendo, because I know my friends did, and that's the reason, one of the reasons I didn't bother getting a Nintendo.
I don't know if that's because I used to play Nintendo so much as well in my friend's house. You see, for example, when it came to shoot 'em ups, I would say hands down the best shoot 'em up of that time was on the Super Nintendo. It was
GoldenEye.
No. That's a first-person shooter. I'm talking about spaceship shoot 'em ups.
Oh yes.
And there's a little gem from Konami. You should check this. If you never played it, you should check it sometime. It's called Axelay, and it's one of the most amazing shoot 'em ups ever done. The soundtrack, the gameplay, everything was awesome about it. And when I heard people talk about Musha on the Mega Drive, I would be like, and I had the Mega Drive, and I was like, Musha and shit, Axelay is where it's at. And people didn't know about Axelay, so it's funny.
No, I didn't. I don't recall hearing anything about Axelay, so yeah, it'd be worth looking up myself.
It's a genre that wasn't very popular in Europe to begin with, the shoot 'em up.
Yeah.
People knew R-Type and Gradius and all those big names, but they didn't know the other stuff that didn't have a big history behind it.
Yeah, no, I didn't. That does not ring any bells to me at all.
R-Type and Gradius.
I know R-Type, yes, I remember that.
Yeah, everyone.
But that was super popular though, everywhere, I think.
Yeah.
The R-Type.
So I don't think my mind worked that way. It's like I loved Sonic more because I had Sonic, and I don't think it was that way because I never owned Axelay, but I thought it was superior to every shoot 'em up I played on the Mega Drive.
Oh, well, that's just it. But the reason I say this is because I was so young at the time, so I was easily influenced in these things.
Yeah, we still are. Every gamer is
We still are, yeah, it's sad but true.
Xbox beats the 360. Xbox beats
PS3
the PS3.
versus Xbox versus PC. Oh my God.
PS3 for life.
Fuck you, console fanboys. PC for the win, so forth.
I find it so funny when I hear people, or I don't really hear them. I read comments on YouTube and stuff, and people say PS3 for life. PS3 is not for life. PS3 has like 2 more years left in it.
Yeah.
Then it's the PS4 or the PS.
Then it'll be PS4 for life. This is just how it
PS something, because they're calling the new PSP the PS Vita. They're coming out with these pretentious names to make it sound cooler.
Yeah, it's true. I was looking at this PlayStation Move. Okay. We'll call it the Move, because it sounds...
I guess the Move makes sense, but...
You're moving.
Is the most retarded name.
It's not the most intuitive name I've come across now. If we go back into innovation. PlayStation Move. It allows you to move.
Yeah. It's actually telling you to move. Get off the couch. Move. Move, bitch.
Get off your ass and move. That's what we're telling you to do. Yeah, it's just a question of how well it actually kicks off. I know it's out now, but I have yet to try.
They need to make... If they want to sell peripherals like that, they need to justify it with software. It's that simple.
Well, you see, I think Xbox kind of did it right with the Kinect. Because I've been hearing a lot of reviews on how the training stuff that they do, workouts and things like that.
Casual crowd. I'm talking about for us gamers, us that want some...
Yeah, come on, us gamers are not going to bother our ass with that. If it involves us getting up off the couch, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, but it's shovelware. It's not going to make your new peripheral more popular among gamers. It's going to make some 40-year-old housewife buy some shit. But
yeah, but that's a huge market. I mean, if it works.
Yeah, but that market has already been tapped by the Wii, and those people already have that. They're not going to buy some... They're not like gamers. Gamers are always wanting the new shit. The new shiny. And,
Give me the graphics.
For a older person, a casual gamer even, they don't care. They already have the product that does that. They don't need the Move. They don't need the Kinect. Yeah. They already have the Wii. The Wii already tapped that shit.
Yeah, back in my casual days, I had a Wii too.
It's good. Did you know they have Hajime no Hippo boxing game in Japan for the Wii?
No, but it doesn't surprise me either.
It was fucking awesome. I saw that. I saw on YouTube, And I'm like, oh my god, if that comes to Europe, I'm going to buy it.
You buy the Wii purely for that purpose.
Hajime no Hippo.
Yeah, I suppose it's good anime.
If we have any listeners into anime, by the way, watch Hajime no Hippo. It's epic. It's really good.
You've been trying to convince me to watch it for the last 5 years. So.
You haven't watched it yet?
I watched only a couple of episodes. I just can't bring myself to sitting down, or should I say I can't get myself some additional time to sit down and watch a new anime.
I forgive you because you moved to a new country and started a new life.
Exactly.
Yeah. But
it's the real life complication.
Like 2 years from now.
Yeah. Okay, fine. I'll keep that in mind.
No, but let's go back to games again. Okay, actually Golden Axe was the first game I ever played.
The first?
The absolute first game I have at least recollection of playing, because this was in a time where I didn't have the consoles or anything, and I was passing by this fair in the summer with my parents, and I saw these arcade machines, and I saw Golden Axe there, and I didn't even know what Golden Axe was. I just saw, looked at all the arcade machines and saw one that I wanted to play, and I begged my mother for some money and played Golden Axe, and that was I was around 8 or 9 years old back then.
The first physical on-screen game I remember playing, and I'm probably showing my age here, was actually Pong. Pong. The thing that all you do is the controller was literally a roller ball. Actually, not the controller. The console had two rolling. I don't know what you call them. Kind of like trackballs,
Yeah, I know.
And all you did is move the two bars up and down the screen and ponged against each other. And me and a friend must have played that at the age of like 5 or 6 for hours on end, just because it allowed things to move on screen that we could control.
I find it funny because you're 2 years younger than me, and yet your first video game experience was such a prehistoric game.
Damn, yeah, it's true. But even at the time, when I go back, because it could have something to do with where I was in location. I mean, I'm from Ireland, as you know, but like back then, maybe that was the most available thing. There was arcades. I do remember arcades, going to them, but it wasn't such a fad to go to an arcade to play a game and stuff like that. You'd sooner just sit at home and play chess.
In Portugal was where all the cool kids hanged out.
Yeah. Screw all the rest of you guys. In Portugal, we had our arcade.
Yeah, yes. But not back then. Not everyone had a console, so the arcades were where it's at, and Neo Geo had a big presence in Portugal.
Yeah.
We had I grew up playing Metal Slug, King of Fighters. So I was very familiar with Neo Geo games, and they were very addictive. And even when I got a console, I couldn't play Metal Slug at home because I didn't have a Neo Geo console. And even if I wanted one, it would be too expensive to buy one. So I just played all those games at the arcade.
Mm. Yeah. Speaking of those games, the first console, what's the Neo Geo console? Is that what it was called?
Which one?
That we were just talking about now?
Yeah, but what was the company you mentioned? That was SNK.
Neo. Oh, right.
Neo Geo belonged to SNK,
Neo Geo,
and nowadays they're called SNK Playmore. I think they were bought by Playmore or Fused or whatever. I don't know.
Now, I don't actually know off the top of my head, so I'm going to look it up while I'm here. It was called a Texit. This was the first console I ever got.
I'm not familiar with that one, but it was probably not Neo Geo.
It was a console that contained, I think, it had 20 inbuilt games into it. And these were all games. This was like it was a game with a boy that literally had to jump over, Pitfall. Pitfall, I think it was called.
Pitfall, yeah.
Yeah, I think that was the game actually.
I love.
Yeah, it was. It was one. It was that. That was. It had this one. Had it. The Atari 2600 had it.
Oh, so that was your first console, the Atari 2600.
It wasn't the Atari. It was actually called a Texit machine, and I think it was by some other company that probably just ripped off the Atari 2600
okay,
and installed 20 of these style games onto it. And I have to admit that was a ball at the time.
In Portugal, there was a similar epidemic. They copied 8-bit games from the NES, and they put them into these like cheap-ass consoles that weren't from Nintendo. And you could still buy new cartridges for that. But it was basically NES games, but they would change one thing or another, because of copyright or whatever.
Yeah.
So these knockoff consoles, I've had experience with them. A lot of people had them in my neighborhood. But we used to have Street Fighter, games with the kids from the street. We would gather up in someone's house and play Street Fighter tournaments on these knockoff consoles. But the characters weren't called Ryu and Ken. They would called like Gyu and Ben or something.
Oh, right. Yeah, I remember something similar. Admittedly, though, the first time I did play Street Fighter was in an arcade.
Yeah, I played the Street Fighter in an arcade, and then I worked during the summer on a grocery store.
Yeah.
And bought Street Fighter 2's Special Champion Edition.
The things we do to get our consoles. Pack bags for
which was the first game I bought with my own money, and it felt good.
That's how you know you're a true gamer. When you're so desperate that you have to go out and find a job packing bags.
I was 15 years old, and my father was a policeman, so we didn't have a lot of money.
Yeah,
so...
it was the same, I'd say. Wouldn't say I come from a rich family now myself. But we got by, I managed to get my Christmas Sega and whatever else a few years later that I could. Until I worked myself and could afford my own stuff. I think I bought my PlayStation 2 myself. I was very proud.
Yeah, I bought my PlayStation 2 myself as well, and I've been playing, buying games with my own money ever since.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yep, bye.
I went crazy when I started getting, my first paychecks. Real paychecks from real jobs that really paid good. Other, guys are my age. The first thing they thought about was like, oh, I need to buy a car. They would get that start getting paychecks and start thinking about buying cars and modding cars and stuff. And I'm like, what the fucking want a car for? I have no fucking friends.
I have a console. It is my home.
Yeah. So I just pimped out my bedroom. So got to this point where my bedroom was a movie theater, basically. It had this big-ass Sony widescreen with this big-ass Sony surround sound system. And, I enjoyed my games on the PS2 like that with the big, surround sound. And it actually changed a lot of games these days, they use the surround sound just to make the, they never use it as a game feature. But remember the other day we were talking about Manhunt?
Yeah.
Manhunt actually uses the surround sound as the gameplay element, or used. It's been ages since Manhunt came out. I remember finishing the game on normal, and you had the little radar that told you where every where every enemy was, right?
Yeah.
If you played it on hardcore, you wouldn't have that. But if you had a surround sound, you could pinpoint where the fuck they were.
Literally keying your ears to the corners.
Because they talk about they get mad if they don't see you, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna find this fucking cunt. And then you hear them where they are. Then you kind of make a picture in your head, a mental picture of where they are in the map. And that was the most brilliant use of surround sound that I've seen in the game. And I don't have a surround sound system nowadays because I moved to a new apartment and I left my old stuff behind, in the old country. But I wonder if they still, if any games are using surround sound as a gameplay element like Manhunt did.
I don't know.
You don't have a surround sound either at the moment, do you?
No, I never really bothered investing in it, not unless I was... The reason, like I said, I spoke to you about this before, the only reason I would get an actual surround sound is for really if I was heavy into my movies.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of games out there which act like movies.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't... I just invest in a very good headset because that gives me my surround.
Yeah, we've talked about this before, and you're more of a headset guy. I like my surround with my video games.
I would gladly spend money on a good headset for good sounds.
Would you buy the really expensive 7.1 Sony surround sound headset for the PS3 that's coming out?
No. No, I don't think it's ever wise to go with these things. I think they're kind of niches, so to speak, peripherals specific to the console. I'd sooner go out and buy a quality headset for the same price, and I guarantee it'll probably work better.
Okay, let's go back to games.
Back to games.
So we talked about the Mega Drive and the 16-bit era a bit. 32-bit. Well, I guess we played Resident Evil. You played it, right?
Yeah, I loved Resident Evil. It was on the PlayStation. Amazing game. First and second. Second one, definitely the most memorable one.
Yes.
First one I played, it was good. Second one, however, was absolutely stunning.
Yeah,
shocking game.
The second one and the fourth Resident Evil are my favorite Resident Evil games.
Fourth, I liked. Wasn't super crazy about. Same with the fifth.
I loved fourth. It's still the most... it's still the Resident Evil I like the most.
Yeah.
I love it.
It could be confusing, the fourth. There's a good chance I didn't play it, and I'm confusing it with the third.
The third was the one where they introduced I think they introduced the Nemesis on the second one.
Yeah.
But the Resident Evil 3 was called Nemesis, right? That was the subtitle.
Yeah. Or are we confusing the movie here now?
and that the Resident Evil 4 was memorable to me because being Portuguese, I know a little bit of Spanish, and it was hilarious for me.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Resident Evil 4 takes place in Spain.
In Spain, yeah, I remember when all the zombies spoke Spanish.
For some reason, the idea of a Spanish zombie saying, "He's over there, kill him," in Spanish, it just made me laugh every single time. I believe that game, Resident Evil and survival horror games, they're made to, create fear and tension. But I just ran through that game with a smile on my face because I couldn't stop laughing.
But that's probably what also gave that game probably more points in your mind. I didn't understand actually what they were saying, nor did I care when I was playing it. So I didn't really see the game as all that good in story regards. But 2, definitely 2. Best one.
It's the same thing with I'm playing, as you know, Assassin's Creed 2 right now.
Yeah.
And I don't know Italian as well as I know Spanish, but I know some words. And it's really funny when I hear, all the NPCs, they talk...
in Spanish, yeah.
No, in Italian.
Or Italian, sorry, yeah.
Italy. And it's really funny hearing them saying like profanity, like shit in Italian. It's really funny.
That's true. Yeah. It is. It's quite good that way. I found it very interesting how they claimed the English version. The reason that he spoke English is because of his, the way he goes into the system and it translates it for him. It was quite a good background theory to the fact that everyone there is actually speaking Italian.
I think the game only loses for the subplot, to be honest.
Subplot.
The futuristic subplot, I think it's totally unwarranted, and it just breaks the flow of the game.
I don't. I think that's what makes it unique.
In my case, it just comes across as fucking annoying, to be honest. And let me explain to you why. I'm into the story of Altair and Ezio. I think they're
historical figures.
The story is good, and Ubisoft, even if they don't know what to do with the world sometimes, or how to make gameplay a little bit more interesting, they do know how to craft a good story and a good world.
Yeah.
And it breaks flow when you're, I got to this point where you're about to go to Venice, and they break me out of the Animus. And I was so excited to see Venice in the video game, back in the 1500s. And they break me out of the Animus just to go test my skills downstairs, and it was fucking annoying. And then they make me jump around like a monkey and activate security in the warehouse.
Yeah, I had the complete opposite effect to that. I really enjoyed that aspect that, his skills were leaking through. Because to me, it opened up possibilities for late game as well as continuation. And that's what I seen when I did that. And I was like, oh, awesome, next I'll be able to play in current time or future time with all of these awesome abilities and go around being a stealth assassin while, in 20th century.
But, the reason why I hate it the most is that immersion for me is a big thing in video games. I like being immersed in a world. And Assassin's Creed 2, even worse than Assassin's Creed 1, it's plagued with visual elements that are meant to remind you that this is just a simulation. They craft this wonderful, world that brings you into that time, to that age, and they constantly remind you that it's not fucking real, and it breaks me out of it. And I hate it for it. I just wish that would go away.
I can agree in that the immersion does get a bit of a kicker, all right. But I don't think it's enough to actually kill it entirely. I mean, the breakouts are kind of, you still have to remind yourself that these things are a game. You don't want to end up like the poor Korean guy that died playing Warcraft.
Come on, you know that. No, that's just fucking ridiculous. But immersion is a good thing. That's why
it is. It's a powerful thing, a very, very powerful thing, and I love it in games, especially when you're really deep into something and you can enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I think the issue, like I spoke to you as well about before, the only issue I had with Assassin's Creed 2 was the fact that it was too long for the amount of content that was available.
The game stretches itself out needlessly. They
that's
give you these
where
pointless tasks that break the flow, break the pacing of the story, just in order to get more, to increase the clock on the game, basically.
Yeah, that's it. And I racked up a lot of hours.
It's not like Mass Effect, where you can spend 50 to 70 hours in a game and never be bored, and never resorting to this kind of things where they just made you follow a character across town really fucking slow.
That's true. That's the difference in the power of immersion as well. And I think Mass Effect is one of those games that just has it right.
I love Mass Effect.
It's a brilliant game. Yeah. I don't think anyone can flaw it. Not really.
And Mass Effect, it's a testament to how good it is that I usually hated BioWare games until I played Mass Effect. This is the story. Every other BioWare game bored the fuck out of me.
No, I've never had a problem with BioWare.
Even KOTOR, even Knights of the Old Republic,
I love that game.
I forced myself to end it because I was a Star Wars fan, basically. Because the combat was so fucking dull.
It's true, the combat was dull, but BioWare do what they do best, and that is create a story, and that's what you're playing. Yeah. You're playing a story when you have a BioWare game.
Yeah, that's the good point, but Jesus. And the gameplay in Mass Effect 1 isn't all that good, let's be honest. The gameplay in Mass Effect 1 was horrible. It's still better than what they did with, their turn-based shit. But for a third-person shooter with RPG elements, in Mass Effect 2 they did it right. They did it excellent, actually. But in Mass Effect 1 it was just horrible. I hated the shooting parts. I just wanted to go to the dialogue. I wanted to be done with the shooting parts as fast as possible, so I could go back to having sex with fucking VR Sony.
With as many characters as possible. But it could be a testament as well to the time. I mean, when was that released? 2007. It's now what? Nearly 6-year-old game. 5 years, over 5 years.
Speaking of sex in BioWare games, what did you think about the whole controversy regarding a gay fucking character in Dragon Age 2?
I don't see the problem there, to be perfectly honest. In fact,
if you don't want to butt fuck him, you don't butt fuck him, right?
Exactly. But, the option is there, and I didn't see any problem with that. And I thought the character itself, what was his name, Zephyron, he was actually hilarious. His whole dialogue was brilliant. Yeah. And that's one thing I had to give them props for. I mean, I think it's unfair these days, we're in now very late, and, things along gay communities and things like that are all pretty much out in the open. And to restrict them and things like that, to say, oh no, you can't have this, it's just going to cause more problem than not. If the option is there, no one can complain. I mean, if you want to play with that option, go for it. You're
I've seen so much. The reason why I brought this up is because I reminded of sex in BioWare games, and I reminded of reading. I reminded myself of reading these comments, these really bigoted comments, like, "I didn't buy this game to play as a fudge packer" or something like that.
Well, that's just shallow-minded people. You get them all over the world.
It really is.
The option is there. You don't have to do it.
Exactly.
You actually even have the option to kill him in the start. if you don't like his attitude.
I guess a
I
lot
found
of
that
gamers,
hilarious.
especially in the US, they probably did that. Homosexuality is a sin, son. We need to kill this character.
We're not going to
right
go down that track because you're heading for lots of hate mail there.
Yeah, but
it's true, man. But yeah, keep an open mind. That's all I can say.
My girlfriend doesn't like the fact that these BioWare games have sex with other characters. She keeps reminding me, saying like, baby, Miranda Lawson isn't a real girl. She's actually jealous of Miranda on Mass Effect.
Yeah, well, Mass Effect has the problem of dragging you in for a game, and you're spending 40 hours with this fictional character. And it can lead to jealousy.
Funniest thing was when she saw I was going for the Asari on Mass Effect 1, and she looked at me and she said, "So that's how you like your girls, huh? Boo." Yeah, that's a funny thing.
But yeah, it'd be interesting to see how these effects take on in number 3. Especially from the love lives and stuff, because it's one of the key figures in the game of Mass Effect is the fact that you can take over your save files.
Yeah, that's why I, even though I'm more of a console gamer, that's why I bought it on the PC, because I cannot have access to, Mass Effect 1 doesn't exist on the PS3.
Yeah. Didn't they release it for the PlayStation?
No, they released Mass Effect 2.
Oh, there's only 2 for the PlayStation 3.
And what they did was that they added, Dark Horse did this comic book that came with the, when you start your game, you go through this interactive comic book and you make the key decisions.
Oh, right.
That Shepard does in the first game. However, not all the big decisions are there. And, a comic book is not really a replacement for an entire game. Especially a 50-hour game like Mass Effect. So what I did was I got it on the PC so I could, keep transferring my save files, because even though I preferred, I would have liked it to play on the console, but on the PC is good enough, and I can play the Mass Effect one on the PC.
As far as I'm concerned, Mass Effect was for the PC.
I just want one thing for Mass Effect 3. I want to see Tavisaur's face, really.
Oh yeah, because you get the sneak little pic of the sex scene with her in the end of the game where she takes off the mask and it's like, no, not showing your face.
I've seen the fan art that people have been making about this.
Oh, I haven't at all.
Some of it is really good, but some of it is like, oh my god, what are these people thinking?
Yeah.
But I would really like to see Tavisaur's face. Actually,
I don't know. I think they're going to keep it. They're going to keep that to themselves. Just leave you hanging. It's just one of those things I'm sure they'll love doing. But we'll see. It'll be a shocker if they do. It'll be a good one too.
Let's jump into the 128-bit era, right? With the PlayStation.
You've been up to date.
Okay, favorite games from that era, because in the 32-bit era it wasn't so much that not many games were memorable. We have Final Fantasy and we got Resident Evil, but aside from that, very few games were memorable.
Yeah, it's actually that strong that they were coming out that you could say, yeah, that was awesome. Yeah. There are some, I just can't think of them. I suppose that would be the point. I can't actually think of them off the top of my head. Maybe that's the difference.
In my opinion, they weren't so memorable because we just transitioned from 2D graphics to 3D graphics, and early 3D looked really shit.
Yeah.
So only a few really memorable games remained in our collective minds. The Final Fantasies, the Resident Evils, little more. But
primarily franchises, in other words.
Yeah, truly.
Halo, Metal Gear Solid, these type of things.
Metal Gear Solid on the PS1. Yeah, Halo was already on the Xbox.
Yeah.
So that's 128 bits. My favorite franchises from the 128-bit era, from the PlayStation 2 era, were God of War, obviously.
God of War definitely sits up there on the top.
I loved it. I don't have the same passion for the character nowadays that I evolved past it. I thought
it's played its run. It's been awesome to its peak, to the point where if they drag it on any further, it's going to be a problem.
Unless they do something really cool with the game mechanics and do something really awesome with a new game.
Yeah.
But the character itself, it gets old after a while. Ooh, I'm gonna kill everyone. The gods.
Yeah.
It gets really old.
Repetitive would be the word, I think.
Yeah, especially in we're supposed to the third one. We're supposed to feel sorry for him because I think that's what the game. The game kind of like wants you to empathize. Emphasize or empathize?
Empathize
with
the
Kratos
character,
over the death of his character. But then he fucking kills every fucking god and plunges the world into fucking chaos just for his fucking vengeance. There's no empathizing with that.
And it happened in the first one and the second one. Okay.
Yeah, but in the third one, it's so... and they try to make, he's really good to this. There's this... have you played number 3, by the way?
No, not yet. But at the same time, I've seen a lot of videos. But, you can go down this path and how the story and all this crap, but I honestly don't think God of War was a game that even remotely revolved around the story. It was just an awesome hack and slash. You went there to kill.
The story was okay. It wasn't genius.
Yeah, it was acceptable for the role he had. That would be the word.
Fucking Mass Effect 2. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly, and you cannot, the character. It doesn't leave a lot of space for the character to evolve since it's just a brute with blades.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, but I still love the franchise. God of War 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. I actually think God of War 2 is superior to God of War 3. Let's see what else. Kingdom Hearts, which you already talked about, and which I'm very mad at Square Enix for, because instead of releasing Kingdom Hearts 3, they release 1,000 different spin-offs over 1,000 different handhelds, and that's just bullshit, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I loved Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kingdom Hearts 2.
But even from consoles, you can also hit PC. Half-Life, where the fuck is Half-Life 3 or Episode 3? I am sick to death of this. I have been waiting for this game for years, and I still haven't even... Every review, everything I've looked up is like, oh yeah, no, there's no real information out. We're not releasing any dates. We're not stating anything. Why the fuck not?
I totally understand. Even though I don't have the same love for Half-Life that you have, I like the game. I think it's a solid game. It's very enjoyable. I've finished it a few times, but
the reason I like it is because in my eyes it was probably the first strongest first-person shooter I played, and that caught me. That gave me the first-person shooter kind of love. And the first one was absolutely amazing. The second one was even better. And then there's episode 1, 2, and 3 after that, which were all really good, and the story was captivating and everything. And then they leave you with the most annoying possible ending that, you're sitting there and one of the main characters is fucking died, and then, oh, sorry, we're not going to release anything more than that. Why? Why would you do this?
They
Why?
have said that they weren't going to release. They just haven't announced.
Yeah, they just haven't announced anything, though. Even a shred of info would be awesome.
But you have to have faith. Have faith, man. Because remember that Aliens, the second Alien movie, Aliens, came out 7 years after the first one. True.
The difference between Alien is that it finished.
It is?
Yeah, if you watch Alien, at the end of the movie, it finishes. It closes off. You don't need to expect a sequel. It doesn't lead up. She just goes into space, And
Half-Life 2, Episode 2 leaves you on a cliffhanger, right?
Leaves you on a cliffhanger. And I think that is the ultimate difference. If it didn't leave you on a cliffhanger, people wouldn't expect it. If it leaves you hanging, then, you're looking forward to this next release, which is, it doesn't have to even have advanced graphics. It could be the same graphics as before once the story continues. And that would be important.
I feel your pain, even though I'm not as a big fan of Half-Life 2 as you are. I feel your pain because I can see the same thing with Kingdom Hearts. I want Kingdom Hearts 3, and they just won't give it to me.
Yeah. Well, how did Kingdom Hearts 2 end?
It didn't end on the cliffhanger. It ended just nice.
It ended nice, yeah. I suppose, yeah. But at the same time, now you want it. You've been teased.
At least I felt satisfied with the ending. It wasn't. I haven't played in a long time, so I really don't recall the ending. But
was it you who sent me a link and actually a trailer to? It was a Kingdom Hearts 3. It looked pretty awesome, actually.
No, there's no Kingdom Hearts 3 announced yet. Someone probably sent you a trailer for one of the spin-offs.
Oh, maybe it was a spin-off, but something looked really, really good.
The PSP spin-off is actually surprisingly high quality.
Yeah.
It's a prequel to Kingdom Hearts 1.
I have to admit, I have a PSP and I haven't put that much time into it. I might consider getting a few games for it. I've had it for years, but I've never done anything with it.
Yeah, that's the problem with it. And I like handheld gaming, but I don't like when they put franchises that I'm used to play on the big screen to handheld gaming. Because then the franchise ends up losing something. I understand. I would like, them to start creating franchises specifically for these handhelds, so they don't have to take the franchises that I like and put them there, because then I feel forced to buy the handheld product just to play, the latest.
A specific franchise, yeah.
It's what they're doing with Uncharted. They're making a full-fledged Uncharted game for the PS Vita. It looks just as good as, or almost as good as a PS3 title, and it's going to be a proper game, a proper Uncharted adventure. And if I want to play that, I cannot play that on the PS3. I'm going to have to buy a Vita, and it's a dick move.
Yeah, it is. It is a dick move. But, I suppose it's trying to compensate for the masses. Huh?
So, Kingdom Hearts, Square Enix, take your thumb out of your ass and make the third one, not the fucking 3DS.
Give it to me now.
Yeah, give it to me now, because I love that. It's one of the few games that makes me it transports me to these different worlds, and I love it, and just give it to me. Speaking
of Square Enix, what have they done anything of their own
They
recently?
seem to stop developing good games and just started publishing good games.
I can't say that, because they had a very strong hand in Deus Ex.
But they didn't develop it, they published it, right?
No, they actually developed the graphic scenes in the game.
Okay, so they have been doing something.
They have been doing something, but
they published Just Cause 2, and for that I forgive them for Kingdom Hearts 3 not being out yet. Which is the same reason I think you should forgive Valve, because Valve does so much good for the gaming industry.
It's true. They did bring out Portal 2 recently, which is an epic game. So I suppose I can't really give out too much. And, they own Steam, which is their main stop for games and stuff like that.
I would say just, have a little bit of patience and the game will come to you, because video game companies, even Valve is not a greedy company in my opinion, but even them, they like to make money. And if there's a market for Half-Life 3 or Half-Life episode whatever, they're gonna do it.
Yeah, I know.
So
eventually.
It's going to come eventually. It's just a matter of when, not if, in my opinion.
We shall have to wait and see.
Anyway.
So we've gone through a lot of different things today, from old games to newer.
Yeah, we only have a few more games. I only have a few more games to talk about. I really love the Devil May Cry series on.
Oh, actually, yeah. Speaking of Devil May Cry, we have this. You sent me the link to the latest trailers on that today.
Oh, and I can't believe the drama around that. The early game footage and the teasers.
Well,
and
I can actually kind of have a bit of compassion for that drama, because one of the trailers that you did send me, and guys, if you're when you're listening to this, basically just go watch the latest trailers on Devil May Cry, and you can see what we're talking about. EMC trailers, yeah. And this new character claims to be Dante,
but it's a prequel.
Prequel my ass! He's a whole different design.
You weren't the person you are today.
True.
One of the complaints that people have about the game, I kind of understand, their fear. It's because the game is not being developed by Capcom. It's being developed by Ninja Theory. And while I understand that fear, because Ninja Theory, they have these track record. They don't have the best track record. They have they're most famous for Heavenly Sword, which was a release title on the PS3, which is basically looked at as a God of War knockoff with a female protagonist. I never played it, so I cannot say anything about it. I played Enslaved Journey to the West, and while it was a little bit rough around the edges, to me it showed some promise for the studio, in my opinion. And let's remember that even though a game company or a game developer doesn't have the best track record, that doesn't mean they can't surprise us. I mean, who would have think that Rocksteady would have come out with Batman Arkham Asylum?
Yeah, that's a very, very good point. And yeah, it does hold. You can't just knock them on the side just because of one bad streak. But yeah, it's up to them really to pick themselves off the ground, and that's where they it's like it's a last chance type of thing. And if they don't, then the company's just going to fall over.
I don't think it's going to be a last chance. I think they're a studio with promise. They have the potential for greatness, but they're not there yet. Maybe they'll reach that with Devil May Cry. We don't know.
Admittedly, the gameplay looked absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it did. My advice is take a look and see approach. Don't go apeshit over the quality of the game without having played it yet.
Yeah, well, that's
wait till it's out. Wait till the reviews are in. Wait till you fucking play it yourself before you say this is a shit.
I'm going to go apeshit over the fact that they designed Dante as this scrawny little teenager that is emo looking and stuff like that. That's enough reason for me, because he's always going to be the cool guy, and I think they're kind of
and I have another response to this as well. And if you allow me to elaborate, it's going to take a while for you to get my point, but you're gonna get it.
We shall see.
The main problem that people are having with this new character design is not even that the character looks emo; it's that his hair isn't white. His hair isn't silver. The world is coming fucking apart, and this is a prequel. Maybe it shows the story of how his hair turns. There's already gameplay footage of that when he turns into this demon form, his hair goes white. Yeah. Maybe something triggers. Maybe he gets to a point of his life where he triggers something, and then his hair gets permanently white. It's a fucking prequel. It will explain why his hair will turn white.
Yeah, it's just patience.
Imagine Indiana Jones. We think of Indiana Jones, we think of him with a fucking hat, right?
Yeah.
But how cool was that scene when we see Indiana Jones get the fucking hat in The Last Crusade?
Yeah, but, that was part of Indiana Jones, and it was implemented. It's like in Devil May Cry 2, having him see a reflex or an old video of himself, which could explain a lot. But when you're creating a whole game that's a prequel and you're changing the character in a way that it doesn't quite resemble the character and love, then I think it's just open for controversy. The game's not released; it's only based on a trailer. But we'll have to see. I'll have to wait.
Yeah, but think about Han Solo again. Another Harrison Ford fucking character. This wasn't intentional, by the way. I'm just thinking of characters. Han Solo wasn't the same person that he was by the end of the fucking trilogy. He's not in the first movie, in A New Hope.
Yeah,
he's a cunt. He just cares about his money, and then he changes gradually into this new character. This is what's called a character arc. And it's going to show something. Maybe they're going to make a very impactful story on Dante that we're never going to look at Dante the same way again. All these people that are bitching about his brown hair are probably going to buy the game anyway. So
it's true. It's true. I will probably purchase it anyway, just for the sake of it.
Yeah. And
simply because
they're going to make a really good explanation why his hair turns fucking silver, and his character maybe can be more rich for it. We don't know. But people are retarded, especially on the internet.
It's fair enough, but you can see it. I'm just empathizing a bit with the side on the basis of lack of knowledge. So I'm just going to go with the ignorance.
I always take with a wait-and-see approach, yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Wait and see. That's all you can do with these games.
Did you know the original Devil May Cry was supposed to be a Resident Evil game?
No, not particularly.
Yeah, the original Devil May Cry was being developed by Capcom to be the next big Resident Evil, but then they realized it was just too fucking awesome for that.
It just turned out to be too... Yeah, no, the gameplay is what makes it. It's just, kicking enemies up into the air, then jumping up with a big sword, and then shooting guns at them at the same time. It's just awesome.
Have you seen the Devil May Cry anime?
I have not.
Quite good, actually.
Oh, yeah. Something to keep an eye on, I guess. I have so many animes on my list, though. It's just stacking up.
Yeah.
I really need lots more time in my day.
And it's not really helping that fucking video game companies release a big AAA game every fucking month.
Yeah. Although... Yeah, true. God, there's even more coming just to try to keep up to date with.
Oh my God, Skyrim?
Yeah, we can go on
get
Skyrim again. Never can talk enough about Skyrim.
So for our listeners, we're both going to get Skyrim on the release date. So the next few podcasts after the release of Skyrim will be plagued by Skyrim talk. So if you're not an Elder Scrolls fan, you might not want to listen to the next few podcasts. Yeah,
Skyrim. When is Uncharted 3 coming out?
It's November. They're both coming out in November.
Yeah, so you'll have the two of them to pick off.
I don't even know if I'm going to pick Uncharted on the release, because what's the point?
Not on release, but it'll after the following weeks of getting my Skyrim fix.
That's because I won't be able to play anything else but Skyrim.
Yeah.
And I still have to feed my Killzone addiction, so it leaves me for time for nothing, really. So I'm probably going to wait a few weeks until I'm done with Skyrim, kind of done-ish, because you can never be done with Skyrim, apparently. I was never really done with Oblivion either.
Satisfied would be the word. Satisfied.
Yeah, when you start allowing yourself to explore other games.
Yeah, when you're sedated enough from the game.
Maybe by then, here in Sweden, if you know where to order your games, you can get really cheap deals after a while. If you just wait a little bit, you don't need to buy every game at Game or GameStop. You can wait and get really good discounts. So I'm just going to probably end up waiting and picking up Uncharted. But that doesn't mean I don't love Uncharted. That just means that I'm going to have my hands filled with Skyrim.
It's a priority thing.
Yeah, it is.
Priorities are right.
Yeah.
But then again, coming then in December, we have Star Wars, the next big MMO to hit the scene, which I will definitely be getting my hands on.
Yeah, you're going to have to let me know how that goes, because I'm burned out on MMOs. I'm playing another MMO.
6 years of WoW will do that, yeah. But, I haven't... you have to just take a break. Once you stop MMOs, you look forward to something new. I have a few friends that are playing this new Vindictus game at the moment, which is quite promising. It's a hack-and-slash MMO.
Which one?
It's called Vindictus, I believe it is, or Vindicus.
Oh, that runs on the Source engine, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I've seen some trailers, but, MMOs, if they can show me, I've seen this amazing footage of Terra, for example. Terra?
Yeah, I've seen the thing with Terra, and the reason I'm not getting it is because I have played Aeon for a good 6 months.
I saw the trailer for Terra, and I was like, oh, that looks quite good. Oh, wait, an MMO.
Yeah, but that's it. No, I would have been intrigued by Terra if I hadn't played Aeon. I looked at all the reviews, all of the trailers of the games. Now, the design is pretty much the same. It looks like Aeon. It's beautiful, absolutely amazing graphics. But,
But then it's like the MMO-ish gameplay.
And then that's it, yeah.
The tank damage heal thing. It's like,
and that's exactly why I'm looking forward to Star Wars, because they claim to be getting rid of that. And, it's a BioWare-based game, which means that it's going to be like story-driven. Which is something new, and if they can make it work,
which I'm afraid is probably going to be they just give you better excuses to go grind.
Yeah. Well, if it works, it works. That's it.
At least World of Warcraft is fucking honest with you. It tells you go grind because you're going to have.
That also leads to the boredom after 6 years, because That's just how it is. At least if I'm not convinced that I'm grinding, I'll grind for longer.
The thing is the MMOs, they have to stop relying on Skinner box techniques to keep the player playing and just rely on fun and interesting gameplay. Innovative, novel gameplay.
But that's such a huge area to go into to try keep someone interested in the game.
I know, and because MMOs cost so much fucking money,
to make, yeah.
It's really, it's not a safe thing, to go in with a new idea. Even, it's not. I usually don't care about video game companies. I care more about the consumer. We've clashed over this before, but I understand the company that has to put down so much money creating an MMO. They want something safe.
Yeah.
But in there lies the irony. By doing something safe, they're basically doing MMO, World of Warcraft clones. And there's already a World of Warcraft out there. And there's already people playing it. And if you're going to offer something that's just World of Warcraft, again, to people that are already burned out on World of Warcraft, you're not going to get, huge success. But I understand why they do.
No, I think you had it right the first time. You're not going to get huge sex.
No, especially if
it's not sexual anymore.
I've met a lot of people that got laid because of MMOs. World of Warcraft, I've met a lot of people that created relationships. This is hitting a little bit close to home, isn't it, Alan?
Yeah. But that they're designed as a social network, so you can work at it that way. People do the same on Facebook. It's not different to.
Yeah, once a person described me asked me how would I describe World of Warcraft, and I said it's MSN, but you are an elf instead of an avatar.
Yeah, exactly.
And
getting that to work is the difficult bit. But yeah, no, keeping my eye out on Star Wars. If they can manage to keep me interested long enough and not make it feel like a grind, then I will be happily playing that game for quite a while.
If I ever play that game, I'm gonna fucking be a Sith Lord.
Oh yeah, you have to go see it.
Yeah, you're gonna go see
it. As much as a fan I am of Star Wars and Jedis and stuff like that, I'm going to see it.
I'm gonna go. The first thing I go is go to the low-level areas and first choke all the fucking noobs I find.
I think, that is the problem with that at the moment. A lot of people are thinking the same, but then you don't get force choked to like level 20 or something.
And then I'm gonna make a macro that says, I find your lack of level disturbing.
Just to choke them. Just any excuse to choke them.
Yeah.
Your lack of faith is disturbing.
Yeah, and I'll couple that with another macro and say like, I'm sorry, I thought you were Admiral Piet. Or something like
that. Anyway, I think we should close it up now for today because we have been going on for a while.
Yeah, this is... Oh my god, look at the clock.
It's getting late.
Yeah, it is getting late.
Anyway, guys, thanks for listening. We will be back next week with some more info and random banter on things.
On video games, the thing you like the most. And this
Absolutely.
is a podcast by gamers, not some fucking journalist that is paid to, write or talk about shit that they really don't care about. We care about fucking video games.
We love them. We play them. We hate them too.
Yeah.
The ones that are bad. And we will let you know. Anyway, we'll call it there.
Yeah. Goodbye, Internet.
Goodbye, Internet.
Next week.
Thank you for listening, and see you next time.